I do think it's not so much annoyance, it's just more about what's a tactful way to approach people.
If you want to interact with somebody that you like, it's fine. But if they're eating and you walk up and they have spaghetti,
or they're taking a piss, or they're
yeah. It's just be appropriate, I would say. That's the only thing I would say.
Yeah.
I've been in situations where somebody's been eating. I think that's the one thing you should bother somebody.
Yeah, that's just fucking
eating,
bullshit.
Don't bother somebody.
Yeah.
Wait until they pay the bill or something. On the way out, say, hey, I like your work, and shake their hand. That's it. That's all you gotta do.
Yeah. And in New York, there was occasionally you'll see celebrities walking around, and that was always kind of my thing too. I was never an autograph guy, but if I ever saw them, if I saw them in the corner and I knew it was them, and like they'll make they're trying not to make eye contact, but as soon as they kind of do, I'm like, oh shit. So I'd just be like, love your stuff.
Exactly. In the back of my head, I was like, if anybody ever looked up to me, I was gonna say, hey.
Yeah.
Look.
I mean, I'm always like people coming up to me like.
Yeah, it's always like.
It's cool. It's just
always
the way it
okay,
happens that kind of shows what.
It's not the act of you approaching; it's how that's handled.
Yeah.
Right. That's all I would say to clarify all of it.
Yeah.
So.
Anyway, good question.
Yes.
Yeah. Next we've got Ben Van Camp. He asks, I'm very curious about what your answers are going to be. You might have to think about it. What's the worst gift you've ever gotten?
Oh my god, I know it off the bat.
That's a good question.
Oh, actually, shit. He said the worst gifts you've ever given. I want to know. Well, let's do both. I'm curious.
Okay, worst gift I ever got from my aunt on Christmas Day from my dad's pound shop that he owns. It was a £1 toy from my dad's pound shop.
How old were you?
What? I don't know, 6?
Oh, wait.
She was working there, so she got it for free.
And they gave it to you even though you probably had all of them if you even wanted them.
I didn't want it because it was like from a pound shop my dad owned.
I know the worst gift I ever gave. I was like 7 or 8, and I stole my dad's 6-pack out of the fridge like 2 months before his birthday.
How old were you?
Like 7, probably 7-ish or 7.
Zach, shouldn't have done that.
No, listen. I stole the 6-pack. Fuck you. Fuck you. I sold the 6-pack and then wrapped it up, and like 2 months later I gave it back to him. He was like, oh, it's wondering where this went. And it was fun. For that point, it was fucking moldy. I was an idiot. I was like, my dad likes beer. I'll just give him his own beer. What's a better gift than that? Of course you'd suspect this fucking 7-year-old son would take it.
Oh my goodness.
What was the worst gift you ever got?
It sounds like a lie, but I don't think I've really ever gotten a bad gift before. I mean, obviously it's like whenever you go to your family's house or something, they give you like socks when you're a kid. It's always kind of lame, but that's not what everybody gets. I don't know. I guess I'll pass. I don't have a good answer.
Yeah.
I don't know. Pass.
No. All right.
Come on.
We'll just assume that the truth is just so dark that it can't be shown into the light of day. So
look, I gave someone A.
I don't know.
Oh no.
So as far as the worst gift I ever got, I don't know if it's I'm pretty thankful for everything I've gotten. I guess the worst one was somebody got me when I was a kid. So when I was 7 years, I met my dad once when I was a kid, when I was 7 years old. But he left when I was like 1 year old. And I guess I got 2 worst gifts, and they were actually both from him. And this isn't like a vindictive thing. I actually couldn't give a fuck about him. I don't know where he is. I don't know what's up with him or anything.
How old would he be now? He's alive?
Probably, yeah, he's definitely alive. I'm pretty sure he's alive. He'd be about the same age as my mom. They met in high school, I think, in Taiwan. Yeah, they were a young couple. Anyways, so I was 7 years old, and my biological father stopped by. He already had a new daughter, Ashley, who was like just a few years younger than me. We went out. I think we went to Seattle Center. I can't remember the day very well. And he brought his other woman or wife or whatever she was at the time. And when we got back, it was for my birthday. And then when we got back, he gave me a present, and it was Trivial Pursuit. Now, I don't know if you guys are familiar.
Every 7-year-old's dream.
First of all, I can barely fucking read, let alone play Trivial Pursuit, which was given to me in the early 80s. Now, you got to remember, Trivial Pursuit's based on like factual information throughout. So I don't know who the prime minister of the previous Soviet Union is. I don't know who the World Series top batting average guy was in 1964.
I bet you he fucking dug through his closet and found
It was like a re-gift.
Yeah, that was a fucking re-gift. That's exactly what happened.
But there was like, I could barely read. I remember, honestly, as far as Trivial Pursuit, what I did with that mostly was chew on the pieces. Because there was like the little pie pieces.
That's pretty sweet.
I would chew on the little pie piece things.
Cool. So your dad gave you the gift of almost choking.
Yeah. I never even thought of it that way. Yeah, and then when I was 11, I got another gift from him, which was a $20 check, which ended up bouncing.
Whoa. What
as soon as you say $20 check, that alone is a red flag.
Yeah. But then the fact that it bounced, that was true. His parents...
check is a gift.
I know. It was a check, too. It was because he knew he didn't have any fucking money, so he'd do the check just as like a oh, I got $20. But not really. As far as the worst gift I gave... God, no gift comes to mind as like, wow, this was a terrible gift.
Yeah, that's a hard one to answer.
Yeah. I'm sure I've given terrible
that
gifts.
kind of implies that you'd have to go out of your way to...
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess the idea being that you knew that you
couldn't do any better.
Yeah, you straight up just didn't do better. You really failed in that department. I can't really think of much. I don't know. I guess the worst gift is like forgetting someone's birthday. I've done that.
Yeah. One time for Christmas when I was old enough. I was like 15 or 16. It's a good gift and a bad gift. My family used to do, they still do, they used to do Christmases like at my grandma's house, so like 20, 30 people, whatever. And I had like 40 or 50 bucks to my name. So I went to the Dollar Tree and I bought everybody a $1 gift. Yeah. Which is a nice gesture, I think. Yeah, but it's also a $1 gift. So not one person was ever super stoked. It was like 30 people who were very underwhelmed. Oh, a spatula, thank you. I actually,
while we were talking, this wasn't like a birthday gift, but it was a thing I gave someone. Wow, it's Honest Hour. When I was 14, this is right after I was right around when I first got to Malaysia. There was a girl, I think her name was Lauren, I don't remember her last name. She lived down the street from me, and I had a really big crush on her. And I don't know what I was thinking, but I ended up taking one of the vases that we had. It wasn't a big one, it was kind of small. Mm-hmm. And I remember going to her house and telling her that it was my great-grandma's, and that I wanted her to have it.
Good
Lord. And, yeah. I mean, not a whole lot happened, obviously.
You're up there with the rapists and murderers.
I don't know. I wanted to believe. I wanted to give her something that I thought she would think was important, but in retrospect, I just think about how cringy and like how.
She probably didn't buy your bullshit either. She was like, "Oh, I've seen this before."
Yeah, I mean, what did she even do with it? She just fucking threw it in the trash. Yeah. Like, what the fuck? Yeah, no, it was a different time, obviously. Young and stupid. Trying.
If I ever get a vase from you, I'll know where it came from.
If I tell you it's from my great grandma, you know where it's really from. Fucking Target. Yeah, so that's the worst and best I've done. Alright, so there are a couple more questions we've got here, but we were talking about this a little bit earlier, and I just wanted to recap a little bit on your guys' adventure at the zoo. So you guys were talking about the Philadelphia Zoo, and
I went to the zoo,
and how it's really poo.
Zach.
Chris went to the zoo.
I excluded Zach because Zach is a dickhead.
I stayed here in the attic and played with models.
You're banned from the zoo after
looked out of the city from the attic. And wish I could.
I went with my parents when they visited.
Yeah.
So what do you want to know?
I want to know why you thought it stunk so much. Like you were talking about like the animals and stuff.
Okay, so backstory. I went to Dublin Zoo when I was 17.
Yeah. What did you think of the zoo then?
Exactly, right? So I went to Dublin Zoo in Ireland, where usually, I'm sorry to be mean, usually stuff in Ireland is not as good as stuff in America because there's more people here and shit gets done faster. I don't know. Everything's more... What do you call it?
Better?
I guess. I mean...
Diverse.
What's technologically advanced?
You're saying Irish have fucking flat heads and Neanderthalic brows is what you're saying.
It's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that America gets shit first usually, so America's usually ahead a bit.
Okay.
So when I went to Irish Zoo in Dublin when I was 17, I walked around. I saw silverback gorillas in a fucking 10-foot room, looking like they were gonna blow their brains out the second I got a gun. I saw giraffes.
The monkey's just like staring at you like.
Have you ever seen Have you ever seen the video of the gorilla walking on his back legs? It's the scariest fucking thing ever.
Yeah, that was me in a suit. But we were in Dublin Zoo. The gorillas wanted to kill themselves. Everything wanted to kill themselves. Yep. I've never seen a more depressing atmosphere in my life, and it didn't help that it was Ireland, so the day was grey. So everything was bad. But I recently talked to my mom, and she said that Dublin Zoo is really good now. But anyways, so she had just gone to Dublin Zoo a few weeks ago.
So she was on a zoo kick.
Pretty much. She went to Dublin Zoo with my little cousin. They said they had a great time. And then we went to Philadelphia Zoo, and it was worse than Dublin Zoo somehow.
Did she admit that it was worse?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was fucking tiny. We walked around the entire zoo within like half an hour.
Yeah.
Half the animals weren't out, even though it was like the nicest. It wasn't too hot.
Were you there at the time there was a dead monkey?
Yeah. He fucking fell backwards.
A monkey was like on top of the tree. Everyone was like screaming.
Yeah, everyone was screaming at it. He was throwing coconuts at all the fucking park people.
He was like, he had his arms back against the wall on top, and he was breathing really heavily, looking down, and his eyes were bulged. And the other monkeys were pointing, laughing at him. He fucking jumped, and he fucking splattered.
Yeah, he fucking cracked his skull open, and then his head hung back, looking towards the people, and his mouth was open, and there was flies.
Yeah, it was awful.
It was horrible. But what I'm saying is. Philadelphia Zoo, half the animals weren't out. Their enclosures were even somehow smaller than Dublin Zoo. But I'm not saying Dublin Zoo is bad anymore. I'm saying when I went, it was fucking shit.
Yeah.
I would say Philadelphia Zoo shit. It's also super expensive when you go in there too.
Yeah, it was really expensive, and all the animals that I saw didn't look happy.
It's weird, like, because I've always thought there's something really fucked up about having the really kind of like self-aware animals there.
Yeah.
Like, well, you can kind of get away with it if there's a stupid fucking lizard walking around, but like. If there's like a monkey with like a human sad eyes, like
yeah, that makes me sick.
You're like, oh my god, he knows he's in
they're
a
like they have like their hands like their palms on the glass wall.
Yeah, they're
like,
too
trying
smart
to
to be
make
there.
contact
They're
with you.
definitely
Like,
depressed.
let me out.
It was really fucking weird. Do you remember when we went there? We saw the orangutan sitting out in the grass.
Yes.
Do you remember that, right?
Yeah,
They looked sad, except they had the biggest enclosure at the time, right? I went back there with my mom and dad, and then they gave these weird, stupid animals like ducks and fucking like all these shitty animals the biggest enclosures, and they gave the big animals the smallest enclosures. It was weird.
I think you should be able to have monkeys trapped in a fucking.
So I'm curious.
I'm not the kind of guy who breaks into fucking labs and like.
No, I know.
Go, but
yeah.
Zach, tell us the story about your dad looking at the gorilla.
Oh yeah, a lot of gorillas. You know, you're not supposed to look at gorillas in the eyes because there's And
the challenge.
It looks like challenge. There's a big sign on where the zoos we went to that said "Don't look the gorilla in the eyes." And being my dad, what does my dad do? He looks the gorillas in the eyes, he stares at him, and then one goes, "Hoo, hoo." My dad went, "Ooh," and looked in the eyes and made his eyes bigger. And the gorilla, it was one of the scariest things ever. The gorilla started screaming, picked up a huge fucking branch and threw it at the glass. My dad never did that again. It was one of the scariest things ever. The look in the gorilla's eyes was like, oh, he looked like a fucking serial killer. It was the scariest thing ever. Yeah, he did that. I was like, Dad, don't do that. He's gonna be fine. It's funny. Trust me.
I'm curious at this stage where we are. I'm wondering if in the near future we'll have zoos of like hybrid experiment animals.
That'd be cool.
Because we've already seen, like, you know what?
I don't think zoos are gonna be around for much longer. I feel like eventually.
I really don't think they're a good idea. Like, I like the idea of preserving some like endangered species and shit, but. I don't know, something just doesn't seem right.
It doesn't feel like it's preserving in some ways, though.
Yeah, no, when you're keeping an animal in a fucking room its entire life, it's kind of fucked up.
It's like putting someone on life support. Like, they're not really alive.
Yeah. You're sure they're heart's beating, but they're just fucking... I mean, if you look at the monkeys, you really see depression there is. And some zoos or whatever have big things where the monkeys can just scream and
gorillas are my favorite animal, and when I see a depressed gorilla, it makes me fucking pissed off.
You just have to have like that really positive gorilla in there. It's like, guys, it's not as bad as you think. Hey, we got food, we got a place to stay, we don't have to be.
That gorilla
there's no poachers coming after us. Come on, guys.
When you see a zookeeper walk into a gorilla enclosure with a big machete and start hacking off a gorilla's arms, that makes me sick.
Dude, I saw one that was really fucked up. I saw a gorilla smiling, like I started throwing peanuts at it, he started smiling, laughing, and clapping, and the zookeeper ran with a stick and started beating it in the head.
What?
Because he wasn't allowed to smile, the gorilla couldn't smile. He wasn't allowed to smile.
And then he took the peanuts. He threw them to the alligators.
Dude, you know, have you ever been to a medium?
A medium?
Yeah, and they're like, I'm gonna read your hand now.
Oh, like a palm reader.
Yeah, one time I saw a medium in a gorilla enclosure because the gorilla was depressed. He wanted to know what was going on.
She was like,
Ripped the medium's arm off.
She looked at his lifeline on his hand.
Okay.
And she looked at him in his big gorilla eyes.
she said, I see death, and he went, ah!
Fucking grabbed her hand and ripped it off and threw it at the glass. Why are gorillas so funny?
Because they're so close to us.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think monkeys. Oh my God, we had this.
They're just deformed people.
Should we save this for the New York one? But we had Chris and John and I when we were in New York. We had this fucking running joke the whole time. It was fucking slaying us.
Just do it.
Yeah, you can always come back to it.
I think I think I hit upon one of the funniest things ever.
Yeah.
Foreign people in distress, foreign accents in horrible distress.
Yeah. Okay.
I was doing it yesterday. I was talking about an Indian man like watching his son be killed in the goat attack, and I was like making myself laugh. But like we were doing this thing where it was like a man from Africa. And it was like the whole joke. We did it like over and over.
Okay, so the story is this is always the joke, is there's a distressed African man in the jungle recounting a story of a monkey that walks into the village. he recounts how they killed the monkey and why.
So it's like one was like, one day I am in that village. A monkey come from the woods. He walked like that. I see the monkey. I beat him with a stick. His brain come out. The monkey never come back. We kept doing it. We kept changing. We were like, one day I was in the village. A monkey come out. I look at him. He challenged me. I hang him up like Jesus Christ for all the monkeys to see. The monkeys never come back to the village.
Oh my God.
We just kept doing.
Amazing, Zach.
One day, I was digging a pit in the village when a big fucking monkey walked in from the woods.
We see a monkey try to fly a kite from up above the tree. We throw straight at the monkey come down. The monkey never come into the village.
They flew a monkey around on a kite.
Can you tell the Jesus story but with the Jesse Ventura accent?
Oh, I think I'm a Jesse Ventura accent.
What the fuck is that?
One day, basically, okay, so I was sitting there, and a monkey just happened to walk in, probably from the Bilderberg group. Those guys are always up to something, trying to steal our guns. And a monkey walked right in, and I started beating him with a gun, because I'm allowed to have my rights. And the monkey died, of course.
Do Alex Jones. That's not. I said do Alex Jones, not a car starting.
Actually, it's really accurate.
That's all he does.
My throat hurts. That was awesome. That was amazing.
Day, I was in the village with a big fucking monkey.
The funny thing is, like, we came, I don't know, like, the conclusion that was funny, because the only thing that happens, basically, a monkey comes into the village, this guy kills
I
him.
always imagine this, like, happy, playful monkey just, like, dancing into the
This big
village.
smiling monkey just kills him with a stick.
Corey called the caveman a deformed monkey with a stick. No! Monkeys are funny.
Oh God, but John, holy shit, John could do this perfect, like, Middle Eastern accent, and he was fucking slaying me.
That's awesome.
We just kept doing this shit where it was like...
We'll save that for the
John will do the fucking monkey thing when I'm sure when he's here again.
I'm excited for that. What are we trying to get him out here?
He's in LA for a couple weeks. We can have him, when the day comes back, we can have him.
Do you think if a zoo were to host some, like, human-made hybrid animals, that animal rights activists would come out and try to...
Oh, definitely. Like, if they were like Neanderthals, if they
But then why aren't they fucking protesting shit now at zoos? Or do they?
They are. I saw
a
protesters at the zoo.
Yeah. And if seriously, I don't really protest all that kind of stuff. I'm not a vegetarian or anything. I'm not.
Right.
Yeah, animal cruelty is not good, but I'm not really an activist or anything. But I think zoos are probably
it just kind of weirds me out.
Zoos are not a good idea, I don't think.
I think about, like, Tumblr and, like, some of the things that have come up in terms of, like, being
bullshit.
Important social issues.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't make my gender rock type or whatever.
Yeah.
Shit like that.
Not yet.
No, not yet. But like all of a sudden, but then like things like zoos, they're like right there in the middle of the city,
Yeah.
and it's like such.
In the heart of the city, these monkeys are in a big fucking cement cage.
They're like sitting in piles of poop.
Yeah.
There's zookeepers dropping cinder blocks from 20 feet up onto their heads.
And beating them with sticks.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know. It just surprises me that these people who have no problem like speaking out about things, I don't know. It just seems like that would be such a much. That's an obvious visual, like, I don't know. In some cases, a travesty when you see these sad animals.
I've always thought that the people who feel really, really oppressed because fictional characters dress the way they don't like them to dress, they feel more oppressed with that. Yeah. Than like a woman in Afghanistan who leaves the faith and gets killed.
Yeah.
They feel way more, which is baffling to me.
Yeah.
And I know it's not like, oh, there can't be different problems to worry about, but if you're worrying about the way a fictional character dresses, you don't have any problems anymore. Yeah. That's it. If you're down to that, if that's the big issue of the day, you're good.
You know what's so funny?
You're good, I promise you, you're good.
What's interesting to me is, like, a lot of those opinions and, like, how strongly people feel about it. I wonder, like, in 5-6 years, when they look back at themselves, do they think, like, wow, I was a dummy? You know what I mean? Because, like...
I feel like some people will grow out of it. I think it's a phase. I think that kind of group of people really thrives off the younger people who are like 14, 15, 16, who are really trying to find themselves, maybe trying to find their sexuality.
No, and I understand how it happens at that phase of your life.
So I would say maybe, but I feel like maybe not. Also, maybe these people can grow to be adults who end up pushing it further. I don't know. Probably a little bit of both. Hopefully a chunk of people grow out of it, I think. I hope. What's really weird is you see, like, communism is a big thing on Tumblr. They really? I've seen, like, posts of the same people who do the same thing because they really think communism is like...
But that's such a high school thing.
It is a high school...
That was such a, like, the principle of, like, oh, yeah, everyone's equal and we all do the thing.
Exactly.
And everyone's like, this
is...
Yeah.
But then you want to shake him and go, you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah. There has not been one scenario where communism yielded anything but fucking corruption and death.
Not one communist country. I mean, even a place like China is not really communist anymore.
It's not. They're really pseudo-communist. They're a lot more capitalist.
They're communist in just name pretty much at this point.
Pretty much. And I do think at times they use the communism when they need to, like, strong something. Yeah, when they need to make something happen. But for the most part, they've been very good about... Look, if they were truly this quote-unquote communist nation, they would have never lent America money. You know what I mean? Like, that would not be the case.
They're not. My point is, like, it's that weird phase of, like...
Yeah.
I want to be a communist. Anarchists, too, who are like, yeah, fucking...
There was a point where everyone on fucking Reddit and Tumblr were like, look how cool Vladimir Putin is. He's like riding horses and shit. And then like do you remember people were
he was a huge meme. Everyone was like, he's awesome.
And they had like all these pictures with him with his shirt off and stuff.
Yeah, that like he gets people to take of him like fighting bears and shit. It's fucking...
It's honestly Hitler level stuff. And I'm not doing that because I know that's really like an easy run. I'm not saying he's like Hitler. I'm saying like Hitler never like wanted himself to take pictures with his hands in his pocket. Mm-hmm. Really cared about his image, and most leaders, all leaders do care about that. But Putin was like a different level of like propaganda, where it's like him with his shirt off, him with a big
flying
fish,
plane, him bombing bears,
karate and so forth. Yeah, seriously,
plane bombing bears.
It's a whole different level. Like when have you heard about that thing where world leaders want to have their arm facing the camera when they do a handshake?
Oh.
There's really weird levels of that. So that makes sense, but then Putin's on a different level, I think.
Yeah.
Compared to what other people have.
So what would you think of Obama in terms of his, what do you think his concerns about public image are?
Look cool, baby.
I think that's about it.
I feel like he wants to appeal to the youth, and I think honestly he's done a really good job with that. He's appeared on a lot of talk shows. He's on Kimmel and stuff. He was on Between Two Ferns. He was on BuzzFeed, I think, recently.
Yeah.
Every time it's to plug the healthcare thing, but he's done a good job with that. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
As far as that goes.
I wish he was like doing his job and not like on TV doing all these YouTube videos.
I think recently it's in his last. I think he realizes his last 2 years he doesn't really have to win another election, so he's doing a little more stuff.
Yeah.
The Cuba thing I'm glad. Cut this. I'll cut all this out because this is political shit. Nobody wants to hear about this. I'm glad with the Cuba thing. I think he's done good with that. The Iran deal for now. It's probably gonna fall apart though.
Yeah, they seemed like they were actually on board, which was a surprise.
I think his foreign policy stuff, and I think he's made some. I think he's made some big decisions incorrectly, but he's also made recently. I think he's made some good ones.
That's very interesting, Zach.
Oh
yeah! All right, Zach. Let's get to another question. I'm just curious. There are a few in here that are kind of softballs that I think would be kind of fun to answer. I don't know how you superhero. This is a question asked by Caleb. Do you guys have a favorite superhero?
Not really.
I'm trying to think.
Probably just Batman. I'm fucking stereotypical.
I like Batman.
Spider-Man.
You know what? I do like Spider-Man a lot.
Me too. Spider-Man. There you go.
Do you think? So you know how there's kind of like this hatred for Superman because he's got all the powers.
He's like a 5-year-old.
I'm kind of part of that.
Right.
I don't like Superman.
I understand, but do you think it'll ever come back? Like, do you think it'll ever circle back?
They did something really cool with him in that game Injustice where they made him the bad guy and it was the best idea ever.
How is he a bad guy?
He sees Lois Lane get killed by the Joker and he just fucking loses it and becomes like Hitler of the world and takes over. And then he's like killing off any superheroes that oppose him. And it was a fucking amazing idea.
That's great
because he's overpowered. And
yeah, I think if you do things like that, it's interesting. But it's just like
when you overpower the villain, it's always cool.
Yeah. Well, then it makes sense when you need everybody to band against them.
Yeah. That's the only time I've ever liked him was in that game, because he's a dick.
I think that's the most interesting way to go with Superman is that he becomes an asshole. He gets cocky, and that's an interesting way to do it.
It makes more sense too. He came from another planet. He comes to Earth.
Yeah, and he's fucking invincible
And
to
he's
everybody on Earth.
Yeah. I never really liked it.
Yeah, that is interesting. That he is, as far as like villains are concerned, like the fact that he has one weakness.
Yeah.
But all the strengths. He is actually set up to be more of a villain. I never even thought of it that way.
That'd be a good movie idea to play with. I don't think
they should honestly make a movie of Infamous. No, Injustice, not Infamous.
I don't think any Superman movie's done that, tackled that aspect of it.
But
that struggle between you.
But then I'm also curious, like
Spider-Man 3 tried to do that.
Did you ever see did you see those old Superman cartoons?
Yeah, those are awesome.
Where he was in Japan and he was beating up all the Japanese people during World War II.
No, but if you're saying
he's like throwing tanks around, and there's like the big bucktooth Japanese ones that are like, oh, it's Superman.
Oh, actually talking again too.
Yeah, they do. And they have the big buck teeth and the really slanted eyes. But you're talking about Superman as a villain. I'm sure they may have a Japanese version of Superman where it's like super evil American man, you know.
Did you ever see the Popeye one? You're a sap, Mr. Jap.
What?
That's a real thing, I swear to God.
It's pretty funny.
You're a sap, Mr. Jap. It's like Popeye. He's like, hey, David, look at these guys. And they do the same thing. It's like, oh, hello. And they give him like a peace treaty. He's like, oh, I'm a piece of a guy myself. And he starts saying it. And they fucking like knock him on the head and shit. It's the funniest thing ever. For all the wrong reasons. World War II propaganda is seriously one of the funniest things because they just didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
They didn't fucking care.
That's wild. That's true. There was like, because they were, with Pearl Harbor and everything else. It's like,
they were the only country at that point to attack the U.S. ever.
And at that point, you better be ready for some.
Yeah.
It's interesting though. I don't feel like you could ever have that happen nowadays. Like even if
we kind of do, in like not on a government level, but we definitely have it on a personal level. Like I think like
I'm just saying,
a lot of Americans hate Russians now. There's a lot of like fuck Putin. There's a lot of like fuck America stuff in Russia. It's really weird.
Right.
I think I read a poll that tensions between the U.S. and Russia, between the populations, it's the biggest mistrust since like the 80s. It's the Cold War.
Sure.
So that's always weird to me when you see that.
But do you think if something happened in America now, like if there was some like major conflict with another country and we made some cartoons or a major studio released cartoons or whatever that straight out did stereotypes and made fun of them, that would actually get published? Because I feel like there's so much dissension within the country.
It would be hard to differentiate between on an individual level and a systematic level. Because, for example, 9/11, a lot of like South Park did an episode of Bin Laden. That could be perceived as insensitive in like 50 years.
Sure.
Like, cause he's like, ooh, he looks like this or whatever.
Right.
But it made sense to them. So it'd be weird. Like, in 50 years, people could say, oh, Comedy Central must have funded that by the government. It's like, no.
Even Disney did those fucking propaganda videos.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
What I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. Disney, Warner Brothers.
Yeah. So I mean, I definitely think on an individual level, like if the U.S. got attacked again, or there was another terrorist attack, or...
But even during 9/11, there were so many people within America that were like, yeah, we deserved it. That's what I mean.
Most of those people got shot. Most people would. There's some truth to that, but not...
I went to NYU, dude. It was a very liberal school. I had tons of not only students, but